What up, gamers? We are back with some modern action. This time we're going with another affinity list. I say another because we've featured on the channel a couple times. If you guys have been watching any of our MTGO content, you will know that we've been grooving out with some affinity stuff. It basically allows us to play Urza and have fun with constructs and do shenanigans along those terms. This is not my list, though. It is another player at the shop that has been perfecting and tweaking and changing their affinity lists. They're also running the Mox Opals. I've been testing out some versions without Mox Opals to see how it works out. On the other side of things, we have our Necrodominance list. Now, this is a updated Golgari version that has a little bit more of a swing to close out the game. Before, you'd have to kind of draw a bunch of cards, grind it out. The deck has fallen off since the banning of the One Ring. Let's be honest. It kind of started to dwindle and fall apart. But players have been testing and speculating and trying things out with Veto in there, Nourishing Shoal, things like that. So you get a little bit of other tools available to you with this sort of list. So we're going to see how things work out in this specific matchup here. Already starting out, you've got a lot of tools with the Necrodominance list, right? Graveyard Hate, you've got Disruption, you've got Removal, so it's a pretty solid set. The problem is, it is a little bit slower, and in a world where players are playing, Prowess, where they're playing Boros Energy, it's tough to be the kind of mid-rangey, grindy style of deck, right? If the format slows down, something like Necrodominance can rise back up here. Same sort of thing with the Affinity. Affinity does have a little bit of tools. Same sort of thing with this kind of removal. Like we're seeing the first one hit here with the Portable Hole, being able to kind of move away the Dothy. We've got follow it up with the Emery. So you've got a little bit of tools, but it does have a harder time as well against some of the speed and aggro decks that exist out there. But Bogart Trawler going to come in. That's a great answer to the continual annoyance that Emery does provide with the kind of recasting certain artifacts. Like, again, if you had like a Bobble or something like that into your graveyard that you could just I'm going to recast this a bunch of times, you'll have a great time. But if you guys are enjoying the content, consider hitting the subscribe over here on the YouTubes. Of course, we are going to be continuing up with our gameplay coverage for you every single Monday and Thursday, as well as our MTGO content coming out on Saturdays for you, as we're getting, we're in the summer swing of things. I say summer swing because there's 3 weeks left of the school year for me, and then I'm on summer break to focus up more on content creation and doing some fun little videos for you all to be able to enjoy. We're going to be doing some meta breakdown videos coming up. We're going to do another meta ranking to see how the modern meta is shaping up. We've got some travel events coming up here. We're going to be going to Vegas, so if you guys are in Vegas at that time for MTG Con, great. Let's play some games. I'll bring some Modern, bring some Commander. I'm going to be recording some videos with some people, so it's going to be a ton of fun. But let's focus up on what's happening right now in this match. I love being able to show off these sort of off-meta decks, or the decks that people have been practicing with and playing and trying to perfect and find the nuances. That's the fun thing of Modern, is you might not have the top deck. You might not have the best deck, right? But you can still have a ton of fun playing Modern with a deck that you enjoy, depending on what your shop looks like. I know some people leave comments sometimes of saying, my shop is just full of the top meta decks. It's just, Boros Energy. It's just, the Dimir stuff. It's just Tron. It's just Prowess. I'm just sitting here fighting the grindy stuff, and I can't play my goofy decks, my janky decks, and it makes it tough. I mean, last week I played Enchantress, which is not a good deck against Boros Energy. Let me tell you, when they have a Thraben Charn to kind of blow up your enchantments, it makes it real tough. Even with Shroud, they just, you blow up the Shroud creator and then kill the rest of it. I don't know. We're not talking about Enchantress right now, because we'll eventually show some of those Enchantress games on camera for you to be able to enjoy. But for now, let's get back into it. Veto did hit the battlefield here, so that does kind of present this very scary moment now for the affinity player. Kind of being aware that, okay, there is this small section of time where, you know, things could get a little bit swingy and, like, I can get chunked heavier than I thought. Tamu is going to swing in, though, create some clues, make things a little bit easier with our potential Whir of Invention. We don't have a Mox Opal yet, so it's like we're kind of stuck. We can't really Whir with only 2 blue mana available. Another Doth. Going to try to hit the battlefield here. All right. Swinging in for 3 again. We're trying to put some pressure on our opponent. We don't have to worry about the Whir. The Whir is not the problem. There is something else. Has anybody else caught it? Yep, there it is. This is the thing about if you start playing an Urza Saga deck, do your best not to play an Urza Saga on turn 1. All right, play it a little bit later. Gives you that flexibility to be able to make the constructs, and it like makes a huge difference. So there we're able to do some blocking. You know, we've got plenty of artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we have a land that also counts as an artifact there. So the question is, after the draw, do we make another construct here, or do we hold up our blue mana, maybe for a Whir later on? Maybe we top decked into an Urza or something. Like, this is that moment of debate. Okay, what's more important, getting bigger threats out and pushing for damage, going for one of our artifact a little 1-drops. We need to get maybe access to something like a Shadow Spear or a Boots, Lava Spur Boots, to kind of push for even more damage. You know, where do you want to kind of go from here? I think maybe playing it safer and just like make a construct, tutor up. I don't know. I part of me wants the Shadow Spear here. Like, the lifelink could be really important and really impactful, knowing that Veto is out. Oh, the players are banging on our separate table. We have the camera set up here with it's attached to a separate table, so most of the time we're okay. But every so often you'll see the shakes as players will accidentally bump the side tables that have the camera set up on them. All right, well, so we did make the construct, and we're going for the Mox Opal here. I like that. So again, we talked about the Opal list compared to the non-Opal list. It does just sort of allow a little bit more speed, a little bit more nuance with some of your lines that you might not have, where it's like if you're not running the Opals, you're just sort of straightforward with, oh, I'm just going to get this cool equipment and go from there. All right, so how big are our constructs now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 sixes. That's pretty good. Ooh, portable hole. So I keep wanting to test out the glass casket in my affinity list. It does what portable hole does in a way. Glass casket specifically cares about creatures with mana value 3 or less. So you can't hit, you know, artifacts, enchantments, things like that, where portable hole hits everything. Portable hole is amazing against like steel cutters and stuff like that. But I'm seeing a lot of 3-cost creatures that become important to get rid of, right? Getting rid of Veto, getting rid of Emeries, you know, these things that give us just having a little bit more help in there. So I'm going to start testing out like maybe a 2 of Glass Casket or you know, 1 of, I don't know. We'll see. Ooh, we're trying for the Necrodominance. Metallic Rebuke going to come out there. That makes things a little bit easier with that Opal and then just tapping our artifacts. So with that, knowing that we kind of had to go all in there with the Necrodominance and Veto being out, we were like all in on that plan, trying to get a big swing that turn. With it being countered, we can't really do much about that. All right, game 2. Again, we cut the sideboard stuff. We just go right into it for you to be able to enjoy. And of course, if you want to see some of these lists, you can be able to check things out on our Mox field. There is a link in the description there down below for everybody that's into that kind of thing. Inquisition going to come out here. Go with the bobble. Yeah, get rid of the bobbles. I like that play. Like, it's double, right? 2 Urzas, 2 Tamios. Like, we're fine. We don't have to worry so much about getting rid of a Tamio because you'll just play a Tamio anyway. The bobble, could disrupt the, affinity, all right, the metalcraft stuff. So, like, we want to try to slow that down or disrupt that as much as possible here. Profane Tutor going to be used. I love Profane Tutor. It's such a cool card. I just, all right, pay 2 mana, pass. But I'm a huge fan of just sort of the land go, and this is kind of the same thing. Tap 2, put this over here suspended, and I'm just going to pass the turn, right? 2 turns this will pay off. Hopefully we'll have enough removal and disruptions to keep us in a good setup part. This also just is like almost like another way, like another copy of Necrodominance in a way, right? A pseudo style of the fact that you're more likely than not going to tutor up a Necrodominance. All right, Thoughtseize. Let's see what else. Any new threats? Oh, a Wear and Tear. Wear and Tear is going to go. All right. I guess that's fine. It's like Wear and Tear is a great sideboard card. And so that lets you know that most of the affinity lists are also running like a steam vent in there, something to help give us access to red. Also with Mox Opals, it's easier to be able to cast it. Now, on the other side, I think Necrodominance, because we had a disruptive-oriented hand, we get to set ourselves up into this, like, I'll just kind of do the slow plays here, put our lands in tap. We're not going to have to do too much Bolton. There's already a Nourishing Soul in hand, though. So we're looking for the payout here. We're looking for a veto. We're looking for our Giant Spirit. A name is 1. I think that's the biggest one, right? 10, 12? As like most of the lists back in the day used to run like the, what is that giant worm creator? Oh my gosh, I can't remember it. World Spine Worm. That's 11. So, but it gives you the 15-15. But basically, if you were running the old school Nourishing Shoal Gristle brand style deck, that was a way to kind of help keep going. I mean, gaining 11 is pretty good. Necrodominance, I mean, this is a risk, too, because you're playing it into a bunch of blue mana. I mean, but because of all that information we gathered up, right, Thoughtseizes, Inquisitions, we kind of know the coast is clear. It's like, can I respond to this? I mean, I think you can respond. You may pay any amount of life if you do draw that many cards. I guess you can respond at the end step, right? Beginning of the end step before you start paying life. There's that moment that you can respond. All right, before cleanup, we're gonna start pitching. That's a good sign. That means that we did find at least one of our. Yeah, there you go. Soul Spike coming out. Pitching 2 black spells from our hand. Deal 4 damage, gain 4 life. You can do that to a creature or player there. So getting rid of the Tamio is cool. Ooh, now we got to go to discard because we can only have 5 cards in hand. So it looks like we're going to be discarding the Nourishing Soul since we already have one. And what is that? Natural Order? Naturalize? Naturalize? Not Naturalize. What's the Nature's Claim? Nature's Claim. Yeah, Nature's Claim. All right, so now it's in this, like, we got a red source. So that's, like, maybe trying to make sure we're set up for a wear and tear in the future. Because, like, we could just go for, like, another surveil land with, like, the blue-white one, but Meticulous Archive, as it's known. But we're going to pop one of our clues there on the end step as well. Just draw some cards, draw for turn. I was like, now that Tamiyo's gone, we don't have to worry about hoarding our clues. And we still have one left, going for the Pokedex trainer card. Look at the top 5, I believe, is what the Pokedex does. I haven't played Pokemon 99 in a while. Yeah, let's see. Pokedex. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and rearrange them as you like. Yeah, basically, it's like One Piece style of scrying. You can't put stuff on the bottom with it. You just rearrange your top 5. There's so many blue cards in One Piece TCG that do that. All right, so Mox Opal comes out after the Tamiyo. Land for turn. Oh, there's the Veto. So we're trying to do big draw this turn, I would assume. Oh, response to the cast. Bam, bam. Tear. Destroy target enchantment. Not even going to give you the chance to go to your end step. All right, so that does complicate things as a Necrodominance player, because now you're like, well, I have a way to kind of deal a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, yeah, gain 12, deal 12 essentially. Put your opponent to 6, but it's like you were like one step away from being able to just sort of blast through them with kind of chaining of spells together if you were going to draw a bunch, right? Because you could have just been like, I'm at 13, I'll try to go to 1. Draw 12 cards, and I'm going to hit something in there that I'm going to kill you with. All right, Urza going to come out. Make a construct. Is that a fatal push? All right, that deals with the construct. Unless we're hoarding the push because we need another black source to pitch for a soul spike, and you're just sort of, because like you're never going to hard cast a soul spike, right? Oh, there is a soul spike in hand. Okay, so we've got a soul spike in hand, a fatal push, our nourishing shoal, and then our name as 1. Aname as 1. However you pronounce it. So you're incentivized to keep the fatal push in hand, because the next turn you get, if you draw a black source, not a land, but an actual spell, you get to gain 4, deal 4, but actually it becomes deal 8 off of Veto, and then you gain 12, deal 12, and just kill your opponent. So you got to just basically be like, all right, I got to absorb whatever hit comes my way and hope that there's not a way to kill Veto, and there's not a way, like a counter spell, Metallic Rebuke or something, that's going to mess us up. So just confirming the way that Urza works. Very unlikely that we're going to spin the wheel. Basically, pay 5 mana, shuffle our library, reveal the top card, exile the top card, and then you may cast that card this turn. Not cast. Play. Because you can play lands off of, right? Now I'm second guessing myself. I gotta look. Urza. Shuffle your library, exile a top card. Until the end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Okay, play. Yeah, alright, so you can play lands, yeah. Alright, so they get a little hugging action going on. Veto hugging it out as a nice little 1/3. We're still going to get, yeah, it's like we still get chunked here off the construct. So now it's like What is our Affinity player going to do? Are they going to be able to close the game out here? I mean, they don't have anything. I mean, I guess they can start popping clues, right? They can. The option is to flip Tameo, but we can always do that in response to a bunch of casts and try to dig for something. So it's that's the idea, is like, is there something in our graveyard that we could get back that we care about? I don't think so. Yeah, especially because it's like we have 3 blue, 3 clues. We can tutor for anything that costs 3 or less. I mean, we could pay more than that, but pop a clue. Response to the crack. All right, let's see. Okay, yeah, we're doing it. We found another black spell, Soul Spike, Veto Trigger. So that'll be 8 chunking. We'll gain 4, go back to 12. So players are just confirming life totals. Still in response, we're going to do this Nourishing Shoal, pitching the name as 1. So again, it counts up what is the mana cost of the spell. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He says, if you cannot kill this, you die. Because I'm gonna gain 12 and you're gonna lose 12. Oof, veto. I like this idea of doing this like big swing life shenanigans that the deck has access to now. Like the Golgari version of it is cool. I'll probably start practicing a little bit with it on MTGO, and we'll play some leagues with it sometime this summer. All right, Word of Invention. Again, this is where, like, Glass Casket, right? Glass Casket. I mean, I guess I don't know what you shave off of here. All right, Word of Invention. Going for 1. Oh, there we go. That'll work. Aether Spell Bomb. Let's just return that to your hand. You may not use that. I'm sorry. Not sorry. All right, pop the clue now. Oof. All right. We at least gain 12, and we have veto, so I don't know. It's going to be, we need a veto to resolve, and then we got to try to go again for another Soul Spike here. I don't know. That's tough. I guess it's like another Inane is one, Iname is one, Iname is one, and Nourishing Shoal. Oh, another Urza? Okay, so make another construct here. This basically, we're just trying to close the game out because we know our opponent is hellbent, essentially hellbent. We bounce their veto to their hand, so now we can kind of go a little bit harder, that we might have saved our certain stuff, like saving an Urza for potential removal against other decks to like recast it later on. Now we can just sort of go, no, we're pushing damage here, and we've got 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are 6/6 constructs plus the 1 damage off the Urza for 7. So there's veto. Pass. Oh, dispatch. Ooh, that's perfect. We have, of course, Metalcraft, so that will count as an exile effect. And yeah, so we'll make a construct with our Urza Saga. A clue will go up to 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're 8 8s. That's 16 damage for attacks plus the 1 off of Urza to be 17 exactly. Whew. Affinity. Again, it's like Necrodominance list was set up for the win there in game number 2. You know, if there wasn't the Word of Invention there to tutor up the Aether Spell Bomb, so that, you know, both decks are doing powerful things, but not so much like super aggro OP side of, not really OP, but not super aggro style. We get to see a little bit more grindy set up there for this one. So I like this one. We got to see some cool stuff from both decks, and hopefully some players will enjoy these and maybe test them out on MTGO. Let us know if you're playing them in paper version as well. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next game.